What's up everybody? It's Phil from Zaid Comics, and I'm the writer and co-creator of Magic Cop, which is live now on Indiegogo, and I'm just one half of the two best looking brothers in all of comics. And today, we are back with another comic review, and this is the new issue of The Mask, I Pledge Allegiance to the Mask, number 3 by Dark Horse, by Christopher Cantwell and Patrick Reynolds. Whoo-wee. Man, this series I have been covering the past 2 issues. Please go back and watch if you have not already. Catch up on those and then come right back here for the 3rd thrilling installment of the new Mask series. So let's just get right into it. As you can tell by the subtitle, it is very, very politically charged. And right off the bat, sending a message here with this cover. Now, I've read through the first 2 issues, and just now I am understanding what the deal with this art is. It seems that everyone in this story, besides the Mask, because the Mask is very cartoony in his features, but the humans are seemingly referenced to death. The humans look very, very real, and it seems like this artist is using a lot of references. And for me, that takes me out of the comic. It doesn't really make me feel like I'm in a comic. It's not stylized in a comic book art style. It kind of reminds me of Tom Goes to the Mayor, made by Tim and Eric, when they had those filters over the filmed characters. But starts off 2 years ago at this seemingly supremacist party meeting, and the Mask shows up dressed in full Colonel Clank, Iron Eagle kind of garb, killing some patrons with a toxic fart. Also, another thing with the art here, it looks very static, and there's not a lot of motion in the art, so it doesn't lend to the cartooniness of the Mask. I do like this panel here. This is a great expression. And we'll go on. This issue kind of jumps around through time. Another gripes I had, especially with this page, he gets tackled by the speaker. What is this in his hand? I can't tell what this is in his hand. Is it maybe a blade in motion, so it's oblonged? I don't know, but he eventually cuts this guy through the head, and that ends in some sort of big head massacre. And we actually take the mask off to see that it is. Well, when I read this at first, I didn't know who this was, because you don't really see this character, and if you do in the previous issues, I can't tell the characters apart in this art style, because there's so many characters that they show. They never really establish anyone besides Kathy and Calloway. But this turns out to be Lionel, who is Calloway's old partner at the police station, who in 4 panels just gets murdered and killed off. He had sent the Mask to Antarctica with specific notes for it to be buried. And remember, this was in the past. Jumping around again, because the creators of this book love pacing this very quickly, flashing scenes and lights in your face, not letting you know what's going on. We have one of the previous wearers of the Mask talking about how, I believe, maybe this is Abner, who got into a car accident and he found the Mask. Or maybe this is a previous owner, who knows, because you still can't tell, even though the faces are very realistic. And now he is speaking to Calloway, talking about how he has some PTSD from the Mask. And I like this page because it kind of delves into how the Mask affects you after you take it off. And this panel in the center is a really cool panel, I think, with Big Head being huge, talking about how he has nightmares from using that mask and it messing with his head. Calloway's trying to figure out who is wearing it at the moment, And we get into the political campaign of Big Head. Uh, really, really weird, just intrusive page talking about how they're going to do the debates. And this guy here with a gun, who I don't know who he is, he threatens to shoot Big Head, and he does shoot Big Head, tears some skin off of him, rips some more skin off with his mouth, and what was the point of this? He gets cut across the chest with the American flag, and he seems to be fine. And then that was a scene that happened. I don't know why it happened, but it happened. And 3 days later, going into the campaign, Kellaway, of course, hanging out with Kathy, trying to track down Big Head, and they're literally going to debate each other on stage as a presidential election would have it. Kellaway goes out to talk to the audience, passes out for a reason, and gets fired by Kathy, and so he was thrown out. So I guess this was a tool to not have him be there, but for a reason that is unknown. Much more political talk here, talking about the debates. And I think this is a big thing that is a downfall in mainstream comics right now. You had this giant block of text. I guess you could say we're getting the differences between these two characters. Big Head saying a bunch of nonsensical things, and I really think it shows what these creators think of America politically, because they are just, the whole audience is cheering for Big Head saying that they're going to put immigrants on a ship, a Navy ship, and put it out into international waters, and they're going to sink this ship. And everybody in the audience cheers. So I think that's a big statement by these creators. You could say, playing devil's advocate here, that Big Head is hypnotizing the whole audience to do what he pleases, to cheer for him, because we do know that Big Head has powers to make people do anything he pleases. So we can go with that. Kellaway's sleeping here. He gets woken up by his phone call, someone tipping him off that her husband Abner Mead is Big Head, and so we get that revelation here to Kellaway as he watches another spew of dialogue, just blasphemous stuff that he's saying. He's gonna put everybody in America in 4-bedroom condos on Mars, so on and so forth, and everybody is cheering. He's winning over the audience. Another side thing where there's some shady stuff going on, where it seems like people are trying to duplicate the mask via 3D printer, unless that's what I got out of it. And then kind of coming to the conclusion here at the end, Big Head points out that she is a murderer. Kathy killed Stanley Ipkiss. Now, this is something that I wanted to point out, because I had read the first I Pledge Allegiance to the Mask before I actually read the old comics, which I love. I fell in love with the old comics, Doug Mahnke and John Arcudi. Stanley Ipkiss was the original character in the Mask from the Mayhem series. If you want to go back, check out those videos I did on those. Those are great comics. And Stanley Ipkiss was Kathy's boyfriend, who, after getting the mask, became irate and kind of verbally abusive, and went crazy, right? And Kathy ends up killing him and taking the mask and kind of saving the town from Stanley's rampage. In the first issue of this series right here, Kathy actually says that Stanley had been abusive long before he ever got the mask. And that is a direct canon change from what was going on in John Arcudi's writing. He didn't have an irate or abusive personality before he got the mask. And we see that, he's kind of a bullied dweeb that doesn't have the courage to stand up for himself, and gets his butt beat up by some bikers. So these guys just totally changed that, and saying that she has been in an abusive relationship with Stanley, and that has affected her life. But getting back to this fun, he kind of riles up a mob because he says that she's killed Stanley in the past, and this mob is chasing her, saying, kill the bitch, kill the bitch, trampling over people, breaking the fourth wall here very poorly, I thought. And this rampage, they're just killing each other over the mask, trying to get to Kathy. There's a little scene here where she falls down and she's trying to call her Uber and order an Uber Black. And that's definitely going to age well in the next, decade. Kathy knocks on Calloway's door at his motel room, and he says, "What do you want to do?" There's a beat here where she doesn't say anything, and she just wants to bang before the world ends. And we get another sense of these creators and how they feel about men and women, because Calloway's taking off his shirt and goes to grab for Kathy's chest, and she says, "Nope, I'm the boss." And she is fully clothed like a very sexual being, riding Calloway, the obese, downtrodden Calloway, and begins to choke him with both hands as he coughs and obviously doesn't like it. She, lets out a grunt, and then the comic ends with every man's fantasy. Her in the bathroom grabbing some toilet paper, saying that she's gonna smash the mask to pieces. Whew, man. These, you learn a lot about someone when you read their writing, and it's left up to you guys what you think of these creators. I'm sorry to call this comic book within the Mask series. So you guys let me know what you think about the Mask. Are you going to pick the next one up on January 15th? What do you think about Kathy and her, enjoyment of choking men out? I think that they totally demasculated Calloway in this book, where he was a badass in the old one. So please read those, watch those videos. Subscribe if you like this video and this content we're putting out. I am, reviewing everything in the Mask related, going through the old stuff right now, and hit that bell for notifications if you want to know when we are going live with streams. We will see you next time. Peace. Hey guys, have you heard of Magic Cop? This is the comic book that we're making at Zade Comics. It is live right now on Indiegogo. It is that Miami Vice feel mixed with monsters and magic. 88 pages, fully colored graphic novel. And be sure to pick up that ash can that comes with it. It's going to have a bunch of concept art and a 12-page pilot issue. So check it out. We're fully funded. That means if you back it, you're definitely going to get this book. And we're heading on for the stretch goals. So help us out to get there. Thanks, everybody. Did you guys know that Brandon Diaz, the artist of Magic Cop, has his very own Patreon page? You guys can head on over there and pledge for either $5 or $8 a month, and you get these beautiful digitally painted pictures by Brandon. He does one a week for all of his members. So head on over there, check it out.